Have you ever realized the people you sacrificed everything for only loved what you could give them? I learned that heartbreaking truth at 72. Lying alone in a hospital bed after hip surgery, my 4 children promised they would take turns caring for me, but not one of them showed up. They thought I was old, helpless, and nearly out of money. They had no idea I was about to change all of our lives forever. My name is Evelyn Carter, and I spent my entire life believing that love meant giving without limits. My late husband and I worked tirelessly, building a small business and investing every extra dollar into a few modest rental properties. I managed every bill, every payment, and every family emergency. Whenever one of my children needed help, I was always there with money, advice, or a place to fall back on. I never imagined that after my surgery, when I needed them most, they would all disappear. The operation was successful, but recovery was painfully lonely. Every day I waited for one of my children to walk through my hospital door. Instead, I watched nurses come and go while my phone filled with empty excuses. One was too busy at work. Another blamed expensive travel. The youngest sent nothing but so-called positive thoughts. The only person who treated me with kindness was a nurse named Grace, a complete stranger who brushed my hair, helped me walk again, and quietly asked if I had any family. That single question hurt more than my surgical wound because I realized my own children had abandoned me. 15 days later, I was discharged. No one answered my calls, so I ordered an Uber and went home alone. When I opened my front door, the refrigerator was almost empty, the house was silent, and not one of my children had bothered to prepare for my return. Sitting at my kitchen table, I finally understood the truth. They did not see me as their mother anymore. I had become nothing more than a source of money they expected to last forever. That evening, I opened the financial notebook my husband and I had carefully maintained for decades. Every page reminded me how much I had sacrificed. One son still owed thousands of dollars from a loan he never repaid. My daughter had ignored months of unpaid rent for the apartment her son occupied. Another son was still using my expensive health insurance, and my youngest had been receiving monthly financial support well into adulthood. Together, they were draining thousands of dollars every month while offering me nothing when I needed basic care. Instead of crying, I made a decision that changed everything. I called my late husband's attorney and asked him to come immediately. As we reviewed our finances, he revealed something my children never knew. Decades earlier, my husband had purchased land that had recently become one of the most valuable commercial properties in the city. Those ordinary rental buildings my children mocked were now worth tens of millions of dollars. I was no struggling widow. I was sitting on a fortune. From that moment forward, I stopped being their bank. I demanded repayment of every debt, canceled my grown son's insurance, ended the monthly allowance, and informed everyone that Sunday dinner was mandatory. Panic spread through my family the moment the money stopped. Suddenly, every phone that had ignored me for weeks started ringing nonstop. They claimed they loved me, but their fear made it obvious they only loved what I provided. When Sunday arrived, they came expecting to manipulate me into forgiving everything. Instead, they suggested placing me in a luxury nursing home and giving them control over my finances because they believed I was too old to manage my own life. They thought I would surrender out of fear. Instead, I welcomed my lawyer into the room. One by one, every unpaid loan, every favor, and every lie was exposed. Then my attorney revealed the real value of my property. The room fell completely silent when they discovered I was worth more than $20 million. Within seconds, fake concern turned into desperate greed. They begged for forgiveness, insisted we were family, and reminded me that everything would eventually belong to them. I calmly reminded them of 15 days in a hospital where none of them bothered to visit. I told them that people who only remember their mother after discovering her wealth do not deserve either her love or her fortune. Then I announced that my will had been rewritten. Every debt would be collected with interest, and none of them would receive another dollar unless they proved they deserved a place in my life. I asked them to leave my house immediately. As the door closed behind them, I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time since my husband passed away, I was finally free. That evening, I invited Nurse Grace and her family to share the dinner my children never touched. Their laughter filled my home with warmth that money could never buy. Months later, I sold the property, secured my future, donated to the hospital that had cared for me, and built a life surrounded by people who valued me for who I was, not for what I owned. Looking back, I no longer regret losing my children's approval because I gained something far more valuable. I found my self-respect. Sometimes the greatest inheritance you can leave behind is not money at all. It is teaching people that love without gratitude is nothing more than selfishness, and those who abandon you in your weakest moment should never expect to share your greatest blessing.